that are overstepping their bounds, and we're getting questions on a daily basis about religious liberty and whether or not a governor really has the opportunity to shut down, or the power and the authority to shut down a church. So these are dicey issues that have answers that can and will get worked out. I think we're just stress testing our form of government, and I have every confidence that it's going to work and work well.
I have another question about that, and it speaks to your long-standing role in the conservative movement as a highly visible person in the conservative movement, both inside and outside of government. Some of the states that are pushing to reopen, or who have never shut down, like South Dakota, are also some of the states with the most restrictive measures against abortion, which they consider in the service of life. Now, how is it that states that, if you say that your guiding principle in opposing abortion is to protect vulnerable life, how is it that these states whose public officials say that they are protecting vulnerable life are also unwilling to shut their states down to protect people who are vulnerable for other reasons, people who are immunocompromised, people who may be carrying the virus without knowing that they are doing so? I mean, how is this issue being discussed? How do you understand that within the context of your value system?
I don't, quite frankly. I do believe, as I said, our guiding principle is good public health policy, and I do believe in protecting life in all forms, from conception to death, and I do believe in good public health policy. I think that's probably a question you should ask them, because I'm not going to try to answer that one for you.
How are you weathering this? You said that you're an eternal optimist, but as we discussed at the outset of our conversation, you've seen a number of very serious public health crises in your time, but nothing like this. How are you thinking about this? How are you thinking your way through this?
Well, I am thinking my way through this with, as I said, a great deal of optimism about who I know we are as a nation. When I listen to those corporate leaders on the phone as they've turned their factories around to produce PPEs for the American people, as I listen to some of our companies that are producing pharmaceuticals and doing the research on vaccines, I don't think that there's another country on the planet that's better positioned to respond in a crisis like this.
That's Kay Coles James. She's president of the conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation. As we mentioned, she has a very deep background in public service, and she's serving with the president's advisory group on reopening the country. Kay Coles James, thank you so much for talking with us. I hope we'll talk again.
Well, thank you, and I look forward to it.
How the government responds to the coronavirus will be especially crucial for communities of color, which have been hit especially hard by this pandemic. This week, lawmakers introduced a bill that would require the collection and publication of racial and socioeconomic data to address these disparities. Earlier today, we spoke with Dr. Wayne Frederick about why this matters. He is the president of Howard University here in Washington, D.C. It's one of the nation's oldest and largest historically black universities, or HBCUs, and he continues to practice medicine as a cancer surgeon. He listed steps that he said the government and medical institutions can take to better address the impact of the pandemic.
I think there are three things that the government can do. The first is, as part of another stimulus package, is to really stand up and empower the community partnerships in those most vulnerable populations. So, for instance, there's a lot of focus right now on nursing homes and potentially looking at how to engage nursing home and nursing home staffs